Request you, Madam, for presenting the outcome document of this seminar.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Raja Pervez Ashraf, Speaker of the National Assembly of Pakistan. Honorable Senator Yusuf Raza Gilani, former Prime Minister of Pakistan and former Speaker of National Assembly of Pakistan. Honorable Senator Salim Manviwala. My fellow colleague, Madam Shaza Fatma Khwaja, Special Assistant to the Prime Minister Youth Affairs. Honorable parliamentarians and delegates from Asia Pacific region. Members of the National Assembly, Senate, all provisional and legislative assemblies of Pakistan, distinguished guests, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It was an honor for Pakistan to host third regional parliamentary seminar on sustainable development goals under the able guidance of Honorable Speaker, Mr. Raja Pervez Ashraf. We envision a diverse and developed Asia-Pacific region. At the onset, let me congratulate the Inter-Parliamentary Union and the National Assembly for hosting the conference. I would like to thank national and international members of Parliament from Iran, Maldives, Nepal, Republic of Korea, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, China, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Canada, Mongolia, Thailand, Malaysia, and all those have joined us virtually as well in Azerbaijan and Turkey on special invites for their presence and inputs in finalizing joint future strategy on achieving SDGs with focus on climate mitigation. As a result of your extensive deliberations and focused recommendations, we have been able to finalize the outcome. Documents for the third regional seminar for the Asia-Pacific region parliaments on achieving the SDGs, the documents entitled Your Valuable Inputs, Recommendations, and while the same has been shared with you, I take the opportunity to briefly read the outcome document in order to unanimously adopt it. The document states, we, members of parliaments from the Asia-Pacific region, have gathered in person and remotely for the third regional seminar on achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, taking place in Islamabad, Pakistan on 13 and 14 September, jointly organized by the Inter-Parliamentary Union, IPU, in the National Assembly of Pakistan. This seminar is the third of its kind and was built on the conclusion of the previous seminars. Hosted by the Parliament of Vietnam in 2017, and the Parliament of Mongolia in 2018, as well the IPU's virtual SDGs events. We greatly appreciate the strong commitment shown by the National Assembly of Pakistan in hosting this event despite unprecedented challenges that the country is currently experiencing. The devastating floods that are hitting the country have left more than 1,100 dead and 1,600 injured. They have destroyed crops, infrastructure, and buildings, and left millions homeless. We would like to express our deepest solidarity and sympathy to the Parliament and people of Pakistan, with the hope that the country will be able to recover soon. We also hope that the country will be able to recover soon. We also hope that thanks to the sharing of knowledge and experience at this important event, together we will be able to identify effective solutions to fight climate change and implement the SDGs. Big carbon polluters should take more responsibility for climate change, meet their obligations, and do their utmost to reduce carbon emissions as many poor countries are disproportionately shouldering the burden of climate-related impacts. In this regard, we propose to include the flood crisis Pakistan is currently experiences as a potential emergency item in upcoming 145th IPU Assembly taking place in October 2022 in Rwanda. Titled Parliaments and the Pandemic SDGs in the Time of COVID-19, the seminar provided a space for the interparliamentary dialogues on how to support the achievements of the Sustainable Development Goals in the region despite the COVID-19 pandemic and other crises. Including climate change, there is an urgent need to accelerate progress and address existing problems by adopting coherent strategies. Parliaments can drive significant change towards sustainable development. They can translate the SDGs into enforceable laws. They can monitor implementation of these two laws. They can ensure that government is accountable to the people for the national progress on the SDGs. They can make sure that the needs of all society, especially underrepresented, marginalized, and or vulnerable groups are duly taken into consideration and addressed. Distinguished parliamentarians, the task at hand for us as people representative is to ensure that the will of the people is carried out in the system of governance for the entire Asia-Pacific region. The region has made progress in socioeconomic development, but the rate of development has remained uneven. We are confronted with a number of challenges of rapid urbanization, rising inequality, climate change, significant demographic shifts, and growth rate. Gender inequalities in employment, education, access to healthcare, assets, and technology, among other things, are widespread. Women's participation in decision-making and leadership positions has increased over the last 2 decades, but it remains lower than the global average of 25%. In some sub-region, it's even lower. The challenges of achieving SDGs by 2030 has been magnified during the recent years due to the challenges of responding to the COVID-19 pandemic and increase in intensity and frequency of natural disasters. COVID-19 pandemic has reversed previous decades' resulting in shifts in priorities and emphasis on development initiatives, with greater emphasis placed on dealing with the pandemic. I would once again like to draw your attention towards the devastating floods that have affected 1/3 of the country and have impacted over 33 million people. The flood's preliminary economic damage estimate exceed $10 billion. Food insecurity and malnutrition were already at critical levels in areas severely impacted by the floods. Pakistan has only contributed 0.4% of the global carbon emissions since 1954, but it is paying a heavy price of climate change. I would like to request the Speaker of National Assembly to move an emergency item at the forthcoming IPU General Assembly in Rwanda to highlight the plight of affected people of Pakistan and consequences of climate degradation. Let's work together to address the threats brought on by extreme poverty, conflict, food insecurity, unemployment, and climate change in the region. I wish you a safe journey to your country. In the end, I would like to thank the National Assembly Secretariat officers, particularly our worthy Secretary, Mr. Tahir Hussain, Additional Secretary, Special Initiatives, Syed Shamoon Hashmi, Head of all the departments, including International Relations Department, Protocol Branch, our Media and Social Media Department, our Chief Cameraman, Mr. Zafar, and his team, Project Management Unit and Special Initiative Wing, our Research and our Library Department, PIPS Legislation Reporters, IT, our SIS Interpretations, Telecasting, Digital Innovation Hub, admin, janitorial staff, and all the departments and the support staff for smooth execution for this seminar. And in the end, my very own SDGs Secretariat, my young team of their untiring efforts in managing this seminar. Thank you everyone for joining us in Islamabad. I hope you had a good time and the Parliament of Pakistan appreciate your participation. And also in the very end, I just wanted to bring in another announcement and that all the pictures, all the material you can easily get from the website of the National Assembly or from the SDG Secretariat website. And I would also like to inform you that this event has been top trending on social media, Twitter, from last 2 days, which shows how your presence in Pakistan is not only appreciated, but the parliamentary efforts highlighted climate change and has been discussed. Thank you very much. We love you all. Hope to see you again, and may you have a safe and sound journey. With this regard, thank you so much. Pakistan Zindabad, Pakistan Paindabad.